Markets are moving big time ahead of tomorrow's NFP report. And in this video, I'm going to do my best to show you things that I am watching going into this crucial jobs number tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. US Eastern Time. So as we get started here, what you've got is the indices on the move to the upside, both the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the dollar index plummeting here this morning, continuing its now 3-day losing streak off of the resistance level that we talked about in yesterday's video. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. The euro and the pound are flying here in reference to this, making good moves, and the dollar index being down has not necessarily equated to gold continuing to press all through the all-time highs. Maybe we'll talk a little about gold in just a moment. Oil also kind of pulling back off of its recent highs. So as I mentioned, tomorrow we have the employment change numbers out of the US. We're expecting 212,000. Previously we had 275,000, so that we were expecting a little bit of slowdown in hiring. We're also expecting average hourly earnings to go up by 0.3% month over month, and employment rate is expected to stay steady at 3.9%. Any difference in these numbers probably will cause some pretty good volatility, and there's a good chance, as their forecasts are not always right. So there's a good chance that we get some big volatility tomorrow following the NFP event in the morning. So as I mentioned, the dollar is on its third day on the downside here after rejecting this 104.8 level really strongly. Again, what caused this? Well, services PMI looked really lackluster. It came out lower than expected, and I'll show you that chart now. Okay, so this is one of the culprits for yesterday's numbers. So if we can zoom in here on the edit, what you can see here is that the forecast, the red dot there, was 52.8 for services PMI. Remember that above 50 is growth, below 50 is contraction in the services component of the economy. Well, we actually got 51.4, which was a disappointing miss in terms of what analysts were expecting. So when you get a miss, when the economy looks not as good as you thought it did, the dollar index sells off. And that sell-off has continued as basically people are still thinking rate cuts are on the table this year. And if rate cuts are on the table, again, that's where the dollar loses some of its steam relative to its peers. Now, if we drop down to the 4-hour chart really quick on a technical basis, there is a level of support here that I'm watching just to see how this level reacts. You can see on the 4-hour chart, again, I've drawn up this green zone. There's a trend line here to the upside. From a purely technical perspective, this is probably the last line of defense that I see in the short term for the bulls. And if this level fails to hold, we very well could continue to see the dollar index to slide and maybe even complete that daily chart range that we just drew up here. So you can see perhaps maybe the next stop, if that level can't hold, right, would be perhaps a move down to the 103, 102.5 range. So it is worth mentioning, however, that on the top setups page in reference to the dollar major currency crosses like the pound dollar, the Kiwi dollar, euro dollar, dollar yen, dollar CAD, we're getting mostly bullish readings for the dollar, despite what was not a great output for services PMI. You can see services PMI is not earning the dollar any real favors here. So like dollar yen, dollar CAD, not a lot of blue here, right? Because the US numbers were not very attractive. Whereas in fact, the services PMI being weak in the US was actually good for the euro and the Kiwi when crossed against the dollar. But this is just one category. This is why when we talk fundamentals, I always reiterate that you need to look at the whole component, the whole story of economic data in order to get a full picture. So when we look at like manufacturing PMIs, GDP, retail sales, what we're seeing is generally a lean towards the dollar. And so I actually think that there could be a pullback opportunity, but I'd like to see the market bottom out for the dollar index before making any strict decisions. I already got stopped out once trying to short the euro dollar. I will watch that one again. Let's just take a quick look at some of these major crosses. And here's the euro. You can see this is where I tried to get short, did not work at all. Took a quick loss on this one, on this big jump. And that was, of course, the services PMI, which surprised the market and surprised me as well, obviously, because my trade got triggered with a stop loss. So it happens to all of us, and I just want to point out I don't take only winners. Despite having a really good winning streak recently, this was a loss for me on the euro dollar. The pound USD, again, also completely reversed, more so than I thought. I didn't take any trades on this one, but I am watching the pound USD just to see if we can start to roll over, if maybe there's an opportunity for me to get short on it. Dollar yen, I'm watching for a technical breakout higher, as the edge finder is bullish on this one. If we can break out, I really like the setup there for a dollar yen continuation story to the upside. I should also mention we are currently doing doing our biggest sale of the year. If you've been thinking about getting a copy of the Edge Finder, it is currently 45% off if you use the very first link in the description. If you've been thinking about getting a copy, now is your best chance of the entire year. We're celebrating 2 years since we launched this product, and this has been a dream come true for me and Frank, who we were the ones who initially built this tool. We've now got several really great people involved in the development and maintenance of it, but currently we are celebrating 2 years since our launch day. If you would like to get 45% off the Edge Finder, all you have to do is click the first link down below in the description, and they can hook you up. It'll be a chat link with someone on my team who can get you that 45% off discount and answer any questions you might have about the software. And looking at retail positioning, we can see that retail traders are pretty mixed on most of the currency pairs except for the Kiwi dollar, where they are mostly long. If we take a look at, well, we can just go ahead and expand it to everything here really quick. Well, that's too many. Let's narrow it a little bit. We'll go to indices here. So indices, we do have the Russell added in here, which is new and very, very exciting. But we have the Russell giving us a sell signal as most retail traders on the long side. On the flip side, we have retail traders mostly short on most of the indices. That actually is more of a contrarian bullish signal for me. And I've just added some of the metals as well that we have in the Edge Finder. You can see silver, you can see gold is pretty neutral, and of course the contrarian signals generated on the left. But just remember, as I always say when I talk about retail positioning, this indicator by itself is not like a holy grail. When in combination with a whole fleet of ideas, which is the purpose of the top setups idea, it can be powerful. But remember, don't ever overhype the power of one singular indicator. The market is way too complex just to bow down to one single signal. The value of having something like the Edge Finder, whether it be our software or someone else's, is bringing in lots of different confluence factors to generate the ideas that are shown here. And as I mentioned, the indices are having a really good day here. This trend line seems to continue to reign supreme on the S&P 500. We're back right up to the top of this range here where we've seen previous resistance. If we break out here, the S&P 500 has no there's nothing stopping it from continuing its rally in my opinion. Although I don't have any bullish setups right now on the S&P 500, NASDAQ, or Dow, I will be watching for the Edge Finder signal on those. The NASDAQ also looks really strong. We're pressing up against resistance, but again, I'd like to see this thing break out before I can, provably think like, okay, it's looking strong. Because again, if you had thought that over here, we've been faked out a little bit by the NASDAQ here recently. I'd like to see a decisive close above this level that I've got marked in order to kind of agree that, okay, price action is bullish again. Overall, yes, these are in upward trends, there's no question, but the question more so is, can we break new highs? Because if this trend is going to continue, we want to see appetite from the bulls above that all-time high. So we'll have to see how that plays out. There's the Russell also making a nice move higher here this morning. And finally, gold. I have trailed my stop loss just a little bit further based on the 4-hour chart. My trade, which I've been in here for over a month now, my initial trade, I added a second position here less than a month ago, but I've trailed my stop loss just below this swing low. If price does pull back here, I'm fine with it as long as we hold that area. If we break that area, that's going to be my signal to go ahead and take profits on the trade. And here's an updated look at my current positions. Gold and oil, both very much in the green, floating around $25,000 in profit between the two trades. And here's a look at all of my current positions. FXI, some of the options plays that I've been doing. I've sold puts on TLT, which has come back a little bit. Same with XLY, with the stock market moving higher today. So that's great for my position, but still in the red slightly on TLT. And now finally in the green again for XLY. So almost all trades in green right now, and the win streak seems to continue. So we'll stay patient here. No over leveraging, no getting too arrogant with this stuff. Right now I am simply just letting my trades play out, and when the market reverses, I'll be taking profits and trailing stops. So anyways, I also wanted to mention, if you are thinking about changing brokers or you're looking for a new broker, I have several links down below in the description. If you choose to use those links, those are referral links and you'll be supporting my channel, but you will receive something awesome too. With those referral links, either one, whether you're inside the US, outside the US, you can find them in the description. In fact, we'll maybe show a screenshot on the screen of where you can find that in the description. These brokers have special sign-up perks that you should definitely check out. If you're thinking about switching brokers, you'll get some free stuff, so why not? Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Have a great day. If you're looking to improve as a trader, we've got some cool free resources here that I wanted to share as we close today's video. Down below in the description, there is a link to join our Discord channel or our Telegram channel. And we also have our website, a1trading.com, where traders can get access to free course material to help you improve as a trader. Remember, we are also live Monday through Friday on this channel around 9:30 a.m. US Eastern, broadcasting most live news events and that sort of thing. So hope to see you there. And also, we do have a couple videos here showing up on the screen. If either of these seems like it might be helpful to you, then make sure to click here or here, and we'll see you there.